Walter Briggs didn't flinch. I don't know how he held it in. I'd have snapped. Walter Briggs didn't flinch. I don't know how he held it in. I'd have snapped, she yelled. Sharp, public, too close. Her finger almost touched his face. The neighbors looked, then looked away. He didn't. He blinked once, then reached into his pocket. A folded paper, red seal. No words. He ran his thumb across the edge. She kept talking, he kept breathing, no raised voice, no defense, no need. The camera on her phone was rolling, so was the one across the street. He saw both, and smiled, but only with his eyes. He kept the bench, not for comfort, not for memory. He kept it because silence had to be seen, because some things aren't sacred until someone tries to erase them, and someone just tried. It wasn't a fancy bench, just pressure-treated wood, bolted into concrete, one coat of walnut stain, faded from the sun. He'd built it with Ellen, measured twice, installed it once, level, square, permanent. No one sat there but her. No one ever dared move it while she was alive. And now that she was gone, he made sure no one even thought about it. People assumed he was mourning. Maybe he was, but that's not why he watered the maple tree every morning. That's not why he swept the leaves clockwise, or realigned the wind chimes so they hit just right on windy nights. That's not why he replaced the screws in the plaque the day after the storm, tighter this time. The plaque was small, just a brushed bronze rectangle, no bigger than a paperback. It read, Ellen Briggs, always here, no dates, no mention of death, because that wasn't the point. He never liked memorials, they're for the living, for show. This wasn't that. This was a line, drawn in wood and metal, and HOA letters didn't cross it. When the first notice came in the mail, he didn't even blink. He read it, folded it, put it in the drawer next to the checkbook. Then he made one phone call. No begging, no explanation, just, "You still got Ellen's old sketch of the bench on file?" The woman on the other end went quiet, then said, "Yeah, we do." And Walter said, "Good. I'm coming in." He brought coffee to the front desk that day, signed nothing, left with a stamped permit, and a calm he hadn't felt in years. He knew what was coming, the clipboard, the shouting, the HOA righteousness, but she didn't know what she was walking into. He wasn't guarding a bench, he was guarding what it meant, and the second someone tried to erase that, they made it personal. Without raising his voice, without moving a step, Walter Briggs had already fired the first shot. The letter didn't come with a knock. It came folded, mailed, delivered by someone who didn't make eye contact. White envelope, HOA logo, typed, sealed, precise, no apology, no context, just codes and bold lines. Improper structure, unauthorized addition to shared landscape, non-compliant with HOA Article 7, Section 3. No one asked who built the bench. No one asked who sat there. They just declared it out of place. Walter read it on the porch, didn't squint, didn't sigh. He folded it once, then again, then slid it under the dog-eared corner of the placemat. He didn't tell anyone, didn't bring it up at the post box, didn't call a neighbor. But the next morning, he was up earlier than usual. The leaf blower ran at 7:03. The hose uncoiled at 9:12. The bench was wiped clean by noon. Same hand, same rhythm, no rush. He trimmed the grass around the base with kitchen scissors. Not a word. Not even to the dog walker who waved from across the street. The next day, the sprinkler was repositioned, not because the grass needed it, but because the wind had shifted. Then came the second letter. Still no knock. Non-compliance notice. Deadline attached. Language colder. Tone firmer. Still, unsigned by name. He read that one while standing. Didn't sit. Didn't blink. He turned, walked back inside, placed it next to the first. Then, he sharpened the blade on the garden shears, hung them back exactly where they were, straight, left aligned, handle facing out. The neighborhood didn't notice. Too many lawns, too many emails, too many people trusting that if someone's quiet, they must be okay. But Walter wasn't okay. He just wasn't interested in sharing that. He wasn't shaken. He was calculating. Every movement now had meaning. Every silence now had intent. And the letter? It wasn't a warning. It was permission. For someone like her to make the next mistake. Some things look small until someone tries to take them, and you sit there thinking, I've seen this before. Maybe it wasn't a bench, maybe it was a rule, a boundary, a memory they said didn't count. But you knew it mattered. If stories like this speak to something in you, you're not alone here. Stick around, subscribe. We tell these stories the quiet way, but they hit where it counts. She didn't come to talk, she came to film. Tripod, phone, 2 board members behind her, nodding, arms folded like security guards at a mall. She didn't knock, didn't say good morning, just stepped past the gate and started reading. Section 8, paragraph 4. Unauthorized fixture, shared frontage, non-regulation dimensions, violation of landscape compliance standards. Her voice echoed, sharp, practiced, not loud enough to be angry, but loud enough to be heard by anyone within 3 houses. Walter didn't look at her, didn't interrupt. He sat, one hand on his knee, the other holding a handkerchief. He leaned forward, dusted the plaque, slowly, carefully, then folded the cloth in thirds, tucked it into his breast pocket. She kept reading. Something about fines, something about removal, something about precedent. Behind her, one of the board members started filming. Wide shot, steady hands. He thought they were building a case. They were, just not the one they thought. That morning, at 6:42 a.m., Walter had sent a photo, taken from his front porch. The bench, the tree, the plaque, a timestamp, latitude, longitude, no caption, just the image. Sent directly to the mayor's aide, a private email address. Same one Ellen had used years ago when she'd submitted her sketch. She had designed the bench herself before the diagnosis, before the chemo, before the silence became permanent. She filed it properly. They approved it quietly. He never told anyone, never needed to, until now. The aide had replied 5 minutes later. Received, we're on it. So, when she stepped onto his lawn with her citations and her confidence, Walter didn't move. Let the camera catch her face. Let it catch her tone. Let it catch her words. We're removing this eyesore today. He blinked. That was it. And just before she turned to her crew, before she gestured toward the bench like a trophy to be claimed, Walter stood, not fast, just enough. He stepped back once, not in fear, but to frame the whole bench in view of the camera across the street. A neighbor was filming too, and then he sat back down. Didn't speak, didn't smile, just rested one hand flat across the plaque, like someone laying claim to something no one else could touch. She thought she was catching him. She didn't know she'd just entered Exhibit A. At 6:15 a.m., the HOA sent the email. Subject line, Community Disruption, Resident Non-Compliance, BCC. Every homeowner in the subdivision. Screenshots, video stills, a list of codes quoted like scripture. They called him defiant, called the bench obstructive, labeled the plaque unauthorized memorialization. No one replied right away, but people read it. You could feel the shift in the group chat by 6:30, seen by 32, read by more, no reactions. Yet, by 6:40, the cracks showed. One neighbor posted a photo of the bench, not from the HOA camera, from his own phone, taken last fall, with Ellen sitting on it, smiling, reading. Caption, this was her favorite spot. 12 likes, 4 hearts, 3 quiet shares. Another neighbor replied beneath the HOA blast, has anyone actually asked him why it's there? The thread paused. Then someone posted just the plaque. Close up, bronze, soft shadow. Always here. No hashtags, no explanation. Didn't need one. By 6:58, half the neighborhood was silent. The other half was deleting their earlier comments. At 7 o'clock, Walter came outside. Same routine, same folded permit, same folder under his arm. But this time, he wasn't alone. 2 lawn chairs had appeared near the fence. An older couple sat there, coffee in hand, didn't speak, just nodded when he walked past. Down the street, someone stood with a camera, not hiding it. Across the road, a teenage girl sat cross-legged on her porch, phone angled upward. No one said they were there for him. But no one left either. He watered the tree, wiped the plaque, sat down, opened the folder, didn't pull anything out, didn't read, just let it sit there, seal facing up like a loaded holster. Inside was the permit, stamped, legal, undeniable, but outside the battle was already turning. The HOA had overplayed, the tone, the timing, the arrogance. They thought the neighborhood wanted order, but what they wanted was decency. And someone had crossed that line, not Walter. She hadn't come back yet, not this morning, not yet. But now, if she did, she'd find eyes watching, phones ready, and a man who hadn't moved an inch, but somehow wasn't standing alone anymore. They thought they were building a case. But Walter? He was building a moment. She came back the next morning, earlier than usual, hair tied tight, clipboard in one hand, citation folded in the other, gloves in her pocket, screwdriver clipped to her belt. She didn't wave, didn't smile, didn't ask. She stepped through the gate like she owned it. 2 board members followed, silent. One of them held a tablet, camera already recording. Walter was already there, sitting, waiting, same folder, same bench. She cleared her throat, loud enough to make the older couple 2 yards over stop sipping their coffee. Then she spoke. As of today, this structure is being removed under emergency HOA code enforcement. You've received formal notice. She didn't wait for a response, just turned, nodded toward the men behind her. One stepped forward. Walter didn't move. He reached into his folder, took out a single sheet of paper, unfolded it, laid it flat on the bench. Didn't say a word. Didn't even look at her. Then came the sound. Not a siren, not a yell, just tires, gravel under weight, a car door opening. The mayor stepped out. Navy suit, no tie, no rush. People looked. Someone whispered, "Is that?" Another voice answered, "That's him." He walked straight to Walter. No handshake, no smile, just a nod. Then he turned. "Ma'am," he said. She froze, gloves still in hand. "You never filed the override form." The screwdriver slipped, hit the walkway, clinked once. Silence. She blinked, then blinked again. Everyone saw it. That was new. The board member holding the tablet lowered it, slowly, the camera still recording. The mayor didn't raise his voice, didn't repeat himself, just looked at her, like he was giving her the chance to process it before it sank. "You can't enforce a removal on city-approved property," he added. "Not without escalation clearance. You skipped that step." No one moved. Walter kept his eyes forward, one hand resting on the permit, the other brushing invisible dust from the bench's edge. Across the street, someone was filming. Down the block, a neighbor stepped onto her porch, barefoot, robe on, staring. The mayor turned again. "To be clear, this bench stays." He didn't wait for a reply. He didn't need one. He nodded once more at Walter, then walked back to his car. The door shut. Engine started. Gone. The woman didn't speak, didn't apologize, just gathered her things, fast hands now, and left. Walter didn't watch her go. He just picked up the permit, folded it slowly, put it back in the folder, then sat. Still, not smiling, just breathing. Walter stood, not fast, not slow, just enough to mark the end of something. He folded the permit, slid it back into the folder like it had never left, tucked the folder under one arm, and walked past her. Didn't glance, didn't pause, just walked. The board members were already gone. Even the camera had stopped recording. But the bench remained. The sun had shifted. Light hit the plaque at an angle now, revealing fingerprints, smudges, dust. Walter noticed. He crouched down, ran his thumb along the edge, tilted it just slightly, not to fix it, just to set it right, barely a breath's worth of movement. Then he stood again, looked out, not at anyone in particular, past the street, past the houses, just past. The couple 2 yards over stayed seated. They didn't speak, they didn't wave, but when he nodded once in their direction, they nodded back. The girl across the street lowered her phone, didn't post, just saved it. A bird landed on the backrest, stayed there, silent, still, like it knew something had just been settled. Walter walked to the edge of the yard, stopped at the corner, looked up once. The tree above him rustled, soft and slow. The wind didn't push, it passed. Then he turned, went inside. The screen door clicked shut behind him, and the bench, it stayed, exactly where it was, except the plaque, now level, clean, pressed down firm into the grain. Not everyone defends the past, some just won't let you erase it. Some objects are never loud, a worn bench, a name etched in bronze, a man who doesn't speak unless it matters. They sit there, quietly holding their place in the world, until someone tries to move them. That's when meaning shows up, not with noise, but with weight. People forget. Silence is not surrender. Routine is not weakness. And calm is often the clearest sign someone's already made up their mind. The wind doesn't argue with the leaves. It just moves through them, steady, unstoppable, gone before they even notice. Sometimes the sharpest reply is a folded paper, or a bench that stays exactly where it was. No need to raise voices, no need to prove anything. Just realign the plaque. Sweep the dust, close the folder, let them see what they tried to erase and failed. Because there are things that don't ask to be defended, they just ask to be left alone. And the people who guard them, they don't fight for attention, they fight for meaning. Some battles don't need noise, only someone who knows what not to move.